Our meeting is now streaming on YouTube. This is fun.
All right, everybody.
Oh yeah, we're live now. Woo! Checking this is working.
All right. We'll give this a few minutes. All right.
Hey.
See, that's what it looks like. I called it that.
Oh, that's great. And there's no way to fix my light.
Not easily. It'll get better as it gets darker.
Okay.
One thing we should consider for the YouTube view is, so Fenella's in gallery view right now, like you are.
Okay.
She might want to be in speaker view, the stream, so that the stream gets the full screen of who's ever talking at the time. Unless, because if we end up with, if more participants come on, it'll end up being a bunch of time.
I'm going to suggest that everyone go into speaker view for the performances.
I think that makes sense, yeah.
Hey, Emily. Great. Fenella?
Yeah.
Mark was just suggesting that you switch your view from gallery to speaker so that it looks better on the stream.
How do I? Sorry, I'm
Upper
listening.
right corner.
Oh, yeah.
You can toggle between speaker view and gallery view.
So speaker view, the one where I've got like lots of little pictures at the top and one big picture.
Exactly.
Little pictures at the top is what he thinks would look better.
Well, then,
Yeah.
Because
That means I can see whoever's playing better, presumably.
Yeah. And I'll make the suggestion that everyone switch to that.
Looks like that.
Yeah, now the stream looks good. All right. Just got to pull up my little thing. All right, it's 7 o'clock.
Yay!
We'll give it a couple minutes for people to
Yeah,
get
I'm just gonna tweet
here.
If you lean back a bit when you talk,
Yeah.
you see your lights better then.
You okay if I take a photo of your?
Of course.
Right.
Oh look,
My class is here.
5 people on YouTube already.
5 are on, yeah, great. We'll give it a couple minutes.
6 watching. It's going up.
Yeah.
Going fast.
Why didn't I prepare this beforehand? I never learned.
Because we couldn't figure out how to get YouTube to work.
This is true. Yeah. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there.
Welcome everybody who's signing on to the Zoom and to the YouTube stream. We're just getting settled, giving people a few minutes to get in because I published the wrong meeting number, but I fixed it.
Oh, did you? I'm glad it's not just me that does stuff like that.
No, I was so worried about all the other stuff, I just typed the wrong digit.
So easy to do.
Welcome to Simon, who I don't know. This is very cool.
Right, I'm gonna go airplane. Yay!
Tom Stone, our friend from California, is watching on YouTube, guys. Yeah.
So hang on, we're starting with D minor, right?
We're going to start with the Bach.
Yep.
And for anyone who is interested, I did post on the Facebook group sheet music. So you can take a look at that if you like. Can everyone hear me okay? If I talk at this level, I don't need to talk louder? Great, I'm getting lots of thumbs up. That's very helpful. Brendon's got his Bach in front of him. Louisa's got her Bach in front of her.
Just realized I haven't played this.
Oh, look at all of that. Everyone's holding up their Bach. That's so cute. I've got it in my head, hopefully. Great. So I think let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining my first, I'm going to lean back because the light's better. My first very big violin class. I'm so excited that this is actually coming together and working. I just want to put, before we get into introductions and performances and discussion, I have 2 ground rules. They're very simple. First, for those of us on the Zoom, it's a manageable number right now, but if it gets to be much more than this, I think it'll be much simpler if everyone who isn't participating in the class by performing or teaching, if you could turn off your video once we get started. And we have pretty easy control over the microphones, but if you could make sure that you're muted as well, just to keep the sound as clean as we can. The other ground rule is more a philosophical one, which is Zoom allows for some in-meeting chat that can go on between participants, and I completely support us all talking to each other. I just want to be sure that any chat that happens is supportive in nature, and constructive criticism is encouraged, but judgment is absolutely not. So keep it, I don't think we have to worry with this group of people, but keep it kind, keep it constructive. Anything I see that seems out of that spirit will be deleted, and that person will be removed. So let's not go down that road. I don't think we need to worry about it. So those are my only rules. I wanted to tell you a little bit about why this class is happening, aside from the obvious that we're all cooped up at home and we have to find things to do. When I was a kid, I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a good-sized town, but it's in the mountains of the western United States. And when I was a kid, there were a lot of really fine young musicians, but not a lot of opportunities for us to play. And my mother and a bunch of other mothers got together to talk about how to fix that problem, and they started a Saturday morning Masterclass series. It was once a month. It was in someone's home, and they brought in maybe someone from the local professional symphony or a guest soloist, or when we were very lucky, it was the conductor, who at the time was Joseph Silverstein, who was a great, great violinist. And we got to play for these people as sort of a communal event. And it was about 6 different violin studios that got together to do this. And those memories are probably some of my most treasured as a young violinist growing up. Fast forward to conservatory years. My violin studio there, my professor held every Thursday at 2, which is maybe a sentimental reason for the time of this class, a violin class. And I looked forward to those classes even more than I looked forward to lessons. Not just for the opportunity to perform, but even more the opportunity to sit and listen to my fellow students play things. And I'll never forget Yumiko's professor, Elizabeth Kufaroth, playing Beethoven Violin Concerto like I had never heard. The first time I heard Isai Ballade was in that class. The first time I heard Bartók's Solo Sonata. These performances are lodged in my memory as unbelievably inspiring and something to work towards as a violinist myself. So those experiences have been in my head for a long time, and I've wanted to have a masterclass series and just never had the time or the forum to make it happen. So that's the thought behind this class. I want to tell you a little bit about Fenella, who's leading our class today. I'll post her bio. You can read all about her accomplishments there. But Fenella is the first musician I met in London, I think, when I moved here 3 years ago. And I had been invited to a house party, a musical house party, and I ended up we played chamber music together all afternoon on a beautiful spring day at Martin Lovett's house in North London. And her playing was not only just astonishingly beautiful, but every phrase she played was infused with just individuality and just a great innate music making. And after that afternoon of music, we sat together at lunch and had a great time, and we've gotten to know each other a bit over the years. But when I was thinking of the first teacher for this class, she just was my immediate thought. So I know she'll bring all of those things to this class, and you'll get a lot out of it. Our first performer is one of my students at the Royal Northern College of Music, Ross Hume. Ross sent me a little bio of himself today. But I think my favorite part of it is that he told me he's from Berwick-upon-Tweed. Is that correct, Ross? Nod? I said it wrong. I'm sure I said it wrong. I say everything wrong. Anyway, he said he wouldn't be offended if no one knew where it was. So he's got a great sense of humor, a beautiful sound, an amazing work ethic. He works incredibly hard and diligently. He's performing the first movement of the Bach D minor Partita. I've asked the performers today to send me pre-recorded videos so that we can have this is Zoom. We're doing the best we can on Zoom, but it's still Zoom. So I'm going to share screen and play this video of Ross's, and then I'll turn it over to Fenella. Is that good for everyone? All right, here we go. Hopefully this will work seamlessly. Share screen, select Ross, share computer sound, share, and I go to play. Is that correct? How come I get Do I need to do anything now? All right. Fenella, over to you.
Great. Hey, so first of all, well done. Second of all, I know where Berwick upon Tweed is because I've played there. And I've actually been on holiday there as well. And it's beautiful. So, lucky you.
Oh, thanks.
Is that where you're holed up at the moment?
Yeah, I'm at my family's house. Well, I'd rather be there than just one flat. No offense, Emily, wherever you are.
No, totally understand that. Okay, so on to Bach. I love this movement so much. It was one of the earlier movements that I learnt, and it's such extraordinary music. What is an Allemanda?
Well, a type of dance.
Yeah,
but
that's
that's the obvious answer.
No, but that's all I wanted to hear is the fact that it's a dance. It's great, and there's so much beautiful phrasing in there. Sometimes I'm not 100% convinced that the phrasing is directed by the harmony.
Okay.
There are places where it feels like the long-term phrasing gets slightly lost because of the short-term phrasing. So I think that would be something to think about, the way the harmony inflects that, and the way of finding the long lines as well as the short lines. And also just finding that element of dance a bit more when it gets to this, like the skippy bits. But go back to the beginning. The other thing is, I was going to say, it's impossible to know from hearing it like that, of course, because it totally flattens all of your sound. It feels like there could be more waves in the sound as well.
Okay.
But that is probably happening and I just can't hear it, so I'm going to trust you on that one. But
Okay.
go back to the beginning and play maybe the first few lines, and then we can work on those.
Do you want to give me a bar number so I don't play too far?
Okay, let's go until the beginning of bar 6, like the end of the first beat of bar 6.
Yeah, okay.
Nice. So to me, that is where that first section of phrase ends.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't end because nothing ever ends in this music. But that's the dovetail point for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, if you look at bar 3, so you've already had from bar 2. Sorry. You finish at that point.
Mm.
Do you think it finishes though?
Oh, well, I don't know. I just feel like there's something different has to happen.
If you look at the beginnings of the bars, at the beginnings of every half bar, so you've gone from the second half of bar 2, 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Do you see where
Yeah.
those phrases actually belong to each other?
Mm-hmm.
Just because the second halves of each bar are different, are taking you in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
I don't think that stops the phrase at that point. And to me, it feels a shame that we're just at the beginning of this journey and then it stops.
Okay.
Could you try it just for me once?
Yeah.
You don't stop at that point at the beginning of bar 4, but
Okay.
you get to bar 6. That you
Mhm.
keep opening the phrase. To me, so. Then when it changes direction here, is different.
Mm.
And then we're at the cadence.
Mm.
But I think it's first at that point, at the beginning of bar 5, that it begins to curve,
Okay.
personally. But, everybody's got a different take on this.
Yeah.
So try the same phrase again and see what happens if you do that. To me, that made more sense. I don't
Yeah.
know how it felt to you.
Yeah, I think it's because I think I've got it ingrained to do it the other way. It feels really different, but I think I agree with what you say.
I mean, with not stopping at that point, actually suddenly the sun comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the harmonies, very questioning, and then we've got to the major. So we've gone from very dark to this
Yeah.
really beautiful sunny place.
Mhm.
And actually taking us on that journey is really important, that you show us those colours as we're going through. And that the colour that you create is showing us where the questioning is, where the, at the very opening. I actually also wanted to ask, what's your reasoning behind starting with a 30-second? So with the
Oh, it's not really very intentional. I think I've just been doing it, but actually I realized we talked about this in my lesson. It shouldn't be a demi-semi, it should be a semi.
I totally get that you want to start with a big, you want to start with that sense of, in fact, what's to come in the whole partita.
Yeah.
Because it's enormous, and it's such incredible architecture. But actually, I think what do you feel the mood is at that opening?
I don't know, it's one of those sort of things. It does sound like a bold statement, but not in your face. It's like someone that knows what they're saying, but they don't have to put that across. People just listen.
I totally get what you mean.
Yeah.
And to me, that character isn't a demi-semiquaver.
Yeah.
No. Demi-semiquaver.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. My brain's not dealing with words. It's too much time in isolation. So yeah, try the opening and just think about that. But also, while you're thinking about that, I'm so sorry. I'm picking on little things, and I said I was talking about the bigger picture, but it all goes into the same thing. Are you sure? I know that we want to feel that pain, but actually, again, stopping at that point
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't necessarily help the long-term journey.
Mhm.
I think it needs weight, absolutely, but if there's a way that you can find to provide that without stopping,
Okay.
I think it would help you create that long phrase.
Yeah, okay.
Same thing again?
They're just go to the same place, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Use your arm to give us a bit more weight in that. Just think about sinking into the sound rather than.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, without that disgusting vibrato, I'll just put in it. And so, I'm so sorry. Can I stop you? To me, doesn't then become free and easy. And then,
Okay.
and then the long journey. Without, I mean, obviously, not all those bits are stopping.
Okay.
But I think it's finding what that character is and holding on to it for dear life, and what the harmonies are telling you that character is.
Okay.
Play. That to me made so much more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how it felt to you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked that version.
Good. We're sold. Okay, we should go on in that case. So maybe go from the cadence.
And where would you like me to stop?
Sorry, that was halfway through bar 5.
And then just stop at bar 6.
Oh, sorry. When you stop, I thought you said you start.
I'm sorry.
No, the next phrase. There just is never anywhere good to stop in this music.
Yeah.
Let's aim for the double bar. Come on.
Okay, I'll just keep my eye on you somehow.
Okay.
Well, I should know it actually. I don't know why I'm.
I'm sure it'd be great. where first? To me, I mean, again, it might just be Zoom mics and stuff. I mean, squashing your sound. Where we arrive after that cadence, I don't feel like we're now in a new place.
Okay.
I don't mean we are in a new place. I mean that from this point.
Oh, okay.
To me, that isn't suddenly back in that kind of the opening.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we've had, but then how do we get to the next bit? It's a very question, because we've gone from this beautiful major, but then suddenly we're not.
Mm.
And then it gets into this little dance. I wonder if you could bring those harmonies. It doesn't have to be the way I just did it, obviously, but something from that harmony, from the fact that we've been in this very happy, sunny place.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're not anymore.
Okay.
And but to me, not in a kind of brutal, we're grumpy sort of way.
Yeah.
But something more questioning.
Okay.
Try it. And go to maybe somewhere in bar 9.
Okay.
Cool. There's something about the fact that you've got those two phraselets that look very similar on paper but aren't. So and then it's figuring out what you want to say differently. I had a wonderful violin teacher when I was a kid who said to me, always, every lesson, you are not allowed to say the same thing twice, the same way.
Okay.
And especially when it's like this, that the harmony is saying different things to us. And I think it's just being aware of what the harmony is saying to you and how that means that you should be changing character through those two phrases, or some mini phrases. So just think about that for a second and do the same thing. But just stop at the end of bar 8 this time.
Okay.
I mean, at the beginning of bar 8. Okay, do you hear when you play it that you always stop after the first semiquaver of each beat?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think there are other ways that you could create that line that don't stop. I know that the bass notes are very, very important, but I don't think that A, for example, I don't think
Okay.
that's a note in the phrase, and the
Yeah.
same in the next bar. Because it's very easy then, you, like you said, you get used to things that you do, and they become habits, and you don't necessarily notice that you're doing them, but then they disturb the phrasing.
Okay.
So same thing again, but try and avoid always stopping in the same place in each beat.
Okay.
Great, beautiful. And now from where you've got to and going on, I think this could dance more.
More.
Yeah. And then you're into something else. But I think it's very easy because of bow division. It's very easy to have slightly too heavy bow on those separate semiquavers. And finding a way of doing that, whether it's what I tend to do is just lighten off on the phrase on the slur beforehand, so that I've not gone through too much bow, because otherwise
that's a good idea.
You're not doing it like that. But that's the danger, is that you end up using slightly too much bow.
Okay.
So think about how you can do it, and also, I mean, you can use that bounce to take you to where you need to go for the next slur as well.
Okay.
Rather than having to use actually the bow on the string to do it.
Okay.
Go from the beginning of that bar.
Fenella?
Yeah?
I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to give you a 2-minute warning.
Oh, you're kidding! Have we done... Oh.
Yeah. Time goes very quickly.
Okay.
But just so that we don't go on and on all night, I think it's probably good if we wrap up fairly soon.
Yes, very sensible. Okay.
And Archie, you'll be up next.
Okay.
Oh, that went fast. Crikey Moses.
Really fast. I would, in that case, just say, as a general rule, stick to the principle of always going back to the harmonies to inform your phrasing. Make sure that you're absolutely sure you know where those phrases start and end.
Okay.
So that you're looking at the long-term phrase rather than the short-term phrase, and that informs the short-term phrase.
Yeah.
And keep that. Just play that from bar 8, just quickly. I mean, not quickly. You know what I mean. Okay, it's really hard to tell on here. It felt like the second, third, and fourth ones with the right idea, but were just a little bit too loud. But if you get that idea into it, just, noodle away with it in practice and just see what works for your arms, because everybody's arms are different and everybody's setup makes different things work. But just as an idea that you can use that, and that will make it dance more.
Yeah.
Could you just play me from bar 1 to that cadence at the beginning of bar 6 once more, just to finish off with, because it was very beautiful. Beautiful. That was really beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for playing to me.
Thanks for listening.
Huge pleasure. I look forward to hearing you again in the future.
Okay. I'm going to mute myself now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was really beautiful playing and lots of help too. I feel so lucky that we get to have 2 movements of this amazing partita. They happen to be my 2 favorite movements. So next up we have Archie Freeman, who I have never met in person, but welcome to our really big class. Your teacher actually messaged me and said, I have someone who would love to play for Fenella, so here you are.
Hey, thank you.
My understanding is that you're 15, you play the violin and the piano. You play typically in a youth orchestra and a string quartet, but not so much these days. And you're going to play your teacher is Judith Templeman.
And you're Jude. Oh, that's so nice.
Who Fenella knows,
God,
apparently.
we're in touch.
Well, there you go. We have a video of you playing the Sarabanda of this very same partita. So I'm going to pull that up, share screen. I'll try to start at the beginning this time. Share. And... Oops. I'm learning. This one. Share. And there we go. there's my first goof. Sorry about that. Apparently you could hear but not see. Is that true? Yeah? Okay, I'll try again. Sorry about that. Share screen. This. Share.
That's it.
All right. Everyone back?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. Terrific. Fenella, over to you.
That was really, really beautiful. You're 15. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Hello.
Oh.
I'm really admiring your plant in the background. If I have a corner of plants that are basically the same over there. It's great. But obviously it's about Bach, not about plants. Yeah, it's such a beautiful movement, isn't it? And so much you're bringing so much beautiful phrasing to it as well. Sometimes I wonder if you didn't have all the chords to play, if you'd play the melody the same way.
Yeah. I probably not.
You're very, very quiet, and I don't know if that's me or if that's...
Oh, I don't know. I was speaking quite quietly anyway.
It might just be me. I've turned my volume up, so hopefully that's better. Okay, can you play for me up to the beginning of bar 5 without the chords? I know harmony is everything in Bach, but I just want to hear what you'd do if you didn't have the chords to play.
Okay.
saraband, it's a dance, right? Do you
Yeah.
know what its special feature is?
Isn't the second beat stronger?
It is. So, by putting a crescendo through the second beat, you're kind of ruining the fact that the second beat's stronger. So, and you've already got the problem there. You've got a whole, but then, and that has to feel like it's got weight. So taking out the chords again. And then a longer journey. And then it keeps going. So you've got short, and then long as well to think about. So because you've got that repeated phrase. And then the same thing again, but with different harmonies. And then starting again. Isn't that amazing? That harmony there. So I've gone back to a violin I haven't played for a couple of weeks, and my shoulder rest keeps falling off because the other violin's bigger. Okay, can you show me again that thing without the chords once, just finding that second beat?
Okay.
Great. Okay, and now the same thing, but put the chords back in. And still feel that weight of the second beat. And enjoy the harmonies. I mean, it's really painful, right? I mean, it's just sad to me, but then, and then getting to that one. And that's suddenly a release of tension after that. So see if you can find all of those different colour. I know we won't hear them because of the sound quality of Zoom, but we'll know that they're there. I didn't enjoy enough.
Okay. Yeah.
I know that beat's important, but that should feel like a release after what's happened in the first beat, and it feels like we're going to there at the moment. That was so much more beautiful. I wonder, rather than what fingering are you doing on the first chord? Are you doing the two open strings, or
Yeah.
yeah? It can be more rolled.
Okay.
I mean, it feels a bit almost shocking to my ears. But again, it might just be the way it's coming through on the on the sounds on the computer. But for me, there's something sadder about it. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, which to me feels a bit more romantic than like 100 years later would be. But try it and see what works for your arms and what works for how you see it. that was really beautiful.
Okay.
I don't know if it felt different to you at all, but yeah, it felt like it made more sense to my ears. Sorry, I made you stop, but I shouldn't have. Go from where the dovetail happened. If you go from there and go to the double bar.
Okay.
Well, the bar before, yeah, that double bar, first one. Where do you think the high point or the high points are in that portion of the phrase?
The A, like the. Like in that, and then
Yeah.
the G, like the
Okay. Do you think that they have the same level of importance as each other?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's how you're playing them. To me, I feel that and then this is almost a release. Because that's been such a, that to me that's is actually such a strong point in the phrase.
Okay.
The next bit, I think if there are too many high points as well, we kind of get a bit confused about where we're going. That there has to be a bigger architectural shape.
Okay.
Can you try it for me like that?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, from the bar before. So. How does that feel to you? Does that feel like it makes sense?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I know we don't have much time to do this, but I would love for you actually to put those two halves of the phrase together and see how that works as one. And then, unless I yell at you, keep going. I'm going to stop you. Sorry, just while it was quiet and I could probably get your attention. Okay. Just a question. Do you think those are all in the same mood? All of those beats?
No.
Correct. So you played them as if they were.
Okay.
And I think it's really important to make sure that we hear well, those two notes could either be taking us to. That's really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with that intonation, but you know. We've landed in this beautiful place after all this, you know, angst beforehand. But then suddenly it comes back. This is the genius. I love the way Bach does that in these movements. Even like in the E major Partita, where you've got all these places where it's like it's happy, 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 and then suddenly the clouds come over, and you're like, oh, what just happened? And he can just do it in this amazing, like, you don't do anything, and suddenly you're in this totally different world. And I think it's really important that we colour that. And that we make, you know, that we really absolutely know it's there and play it as if the colours as he's written them. So to make sure that actually definitely we're in a good place, but we're not in a good place. So can you play for me? Also, just one thing. Just the bar going into bar 9, so that'll be bar 8. It doesn't necessarily. We don't need necessarily to go into. Some people do, some people don't. I quite like having. That's a really new start. Sorry, okay. I was told not to talk and play at the same time. Bar 9 for me is a new start rather than having been that we've taken ourselves there. But that's a very personal thing. So if you can go from bar 9 and make sure that as you get to that you really have that sun in bars 11 and 12, the beginning of 12, and then take us to that place. Okay, so that was already so much better. One thing I would say is that a way of adding that sunlight is not to get too heavy on those chords in 11 and the beginning of 12. So there's a lot of lightness in the bow. Rather than that you don't dig too deep in those ones, because you want that colour then for the minor. The other thing I was going to say, enjoy the bass line. So from bar 9, so the fact that you've had that chromatic ickiness, and then gives us that really helps you. If you hear that, it will really help you create the colors. So do it once more, and really be light on those chords and think about that bass line. Okay, tiny thing, but we've heard. I think that's the end of that bit of phrase. I'm not quite sure how you got there, but because you were in an up bow for, we had that, and I think that's not very Bach. I don't think a Baroque bow would let you do that for a start. So whatever bow you're doing, make sure that even if you are on an up bow, that you've still got a sense of that first beat still being the first beat. Just because the second beat is important doesn't mean that the first beat loses its importance. It's just that the second beat is more important than it would be if it wasn't a saraband. Okay, I think Cecily's about to tell us that.
I'm about to tell you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was enjoying it.
I think we all are.
You're playing so beautifully, and please give my love to Jude.
Thank you.
All right, let's give him.
Well done. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and for being willing to be a part of this. It's really
fantastic playing. And again, I look forward to hearing you again.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to switch gears in a very big way from Bach to Ernst. Ernst der Erlkönig, which I can't say properly, but you can.
Erlkönig.
I'm really glad that we have a video of this, because I'm finding, I don't know if this is in all of your experience with Zoom, that double stops are about the hardest thing to understand on Zoom, and this piece is full of them. And for anyone who hasn't heard this before, if you're on the Facebook group, I really encourage you to take a look at the part, because when you're listening to Yumiko play and you're thinking, how on earth is she doing this? When you look at the part, you're gonna really think, how on earth is she doing this? It's crazy.
I mean, it's so beyond crazy. The first time that I played it was a few years ago at a festival, and I was staying in a house with some wonderful musicians, and I traumatized them so much by practicing it. They tried to get me to burn my music after the performance. I still have my music, but yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely, you are mad playing this, but you do it wonderfully. So yeah. Sorry.
So our performer is Yumiko Yumida, is that correct? How I said that?
Yeah, correct.
And Yumiko is from Japan. She lives though in Hanover. Is that where you are now?
Yes.
You're in Hanover, where you study with Elizabeth Kufrath, who was one of my fellow students in Cleveland. That's where I met Elizabeth. I'm going to play your video now, and then we'll go back to Fenella. So share screen. I'm going to try to do this correctly the first time. Share screen. There she is. Share. And
Hey,
Bravo.
that was, I mean, it's amazing playing.
Thank you.
I love the little clapping emoji up on Ross's. Brilliant. I didn't know you could do that. It's fantastic playing. There is no question about that. You play it absolutely brilliantly well.
Thank
Why
you.
do you play it? I ask you purely because somebody asked me that question once, and it was a very good question to ask, I found.
Also, I have really interested in this piece, and I have never played this piece, but I thought this piece is very cool and very dramatic, so
Yeah.
I wanted to get as my repertoire.
Great. And you totally have it definitely in your repertoire. It is, you really know how to play it brilliantly well.
But it's difficult.
How well do you know the song, the original Schubert song?
Yes.
have you listened to the song?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for me, my first memory of the song, I must have been maybe 11 years old, and I heard it for the first time, and I was so scared. I listened to Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau singing it, and it was so shocking. The way he brought us all of those different characters was so scary.
Yeah.
Erlkönig was like, he was so beguiling. I wanted to go with the Erlkönig, but he was so scary, and he was obviously going to do bad things to me. And the child feeling that fear, absolute fear, and the father just wanting to look after his child, and then that ending where he finds the child is dead is just, it's the most shocking, heart-rending thing. For me, that was the reason that I wanted to play this, because I could never sing it.
Yeah.
But I could try and play it on the violin, even though, you know, we don't really have enough hands to do it. I think sometimes your performance, although it's absolutely wonderful, I feel it could have more of that fear. It could have more of those characters.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
you're really going to the extremes of what Schubert wrote, not what Ernst wrote.
Yeah.
So that we hear the wind in the trees at the beginning. We hear we hear the fear of the child, and particularly in the 3 Erlkönig sections, that you're really taking a different color.
Yeah.
And I think that especially the second one, I feel like it could have a very different color. And then the third one, where he changes, I don't know how well you know what happens in that little passage, but he starts by being very, very, you're wonderful. I'm like, I want you to come to my world, and then suddenly changes, and if you won't come, I'll take you by force. So that change of character as well within that, I think we could hear that more.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. Let's start. It's so hard to hear, obviously. But just going back, thinking back to listening to the recording, I think even in that first bar, it's so well organized that we hear, we almost hear an accent on the second half of the bar. And actually, this is setting up, if you listen to somebody playing on the piano, the original Schubert, they wouldn't do that. And I think the idea that, for me, we're setting up that wind in the forest. So rather than being organized, just feel that the wind in the trees. So then we should feel a real difference where the voice begins. So do you know where the voice starts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really hear that's separate to all of the accompanimental stuff. But again, it's so hard to know because it's hard to hear what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
But be really aware of that. I think it might be worth.
Sorry, Fenella.
Yeah.
Can I just cut in and make a suggestion? Yeah. When you try things, you could try playing one line at a time, and take some of the chords out of it.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, actually, I think these passages anyway, you're playing them so brilliantly already. I think it might be worth actually skipping to the Erlkönig passages, because they're the ones that actually we could do more with, given the Zoom sound thing. Yeah, if you could take us to you know, that where I am. Yeah, great. Can you play that again and skip all of the accompaniment? Just the harmonics, just the tune.
Yeah.
Okay. Now play it as if you're the Erlkönig and you want all of us kids to come with you to your beautiful home. You're trying to tell us how amazing it is and how it's the best place that we could ever go, and we want to go there.
Yeah. Without accompaniment?
No accompaniment.
With? Okay.
No.
No.
I mean, it's insane that you then have to put extra notes with that. It's hard enough as it is. I think there are places. There are places. Sorry, I'm trying to read, but I'm losing it. Where sometimes the phrasing doesn't quite work, but also where the color is not. It's still it could be more. It could be different. It could be more different. Okay, there. That's the kind of rather than, and I know that all of these phrasing ideas, it's almost impossible when you have all of the other notes to play. If you know exactly how you want to phrase it without the other notes, it becomes easier with the other notes.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So just the second half to get maybe from 60, 61, 62 somewhere.
Yeah. 62?
So.
Okay.
I want to come to your world now.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So this is great. So now try it. I mean, if you take it maybe a little bit slower so that we can hear all the notes.
Yeah.
And play it all together. Don't be scared of the times when the accompaniment starts on the second triplet. Don't be scared to give yourself time to play the harmonic.
Okay.
Sometimes you jump really quickly into the accompaniment and we slightly miss the tune. The tune is the most important thing here, because otherwise we lose the sense of the fact that it's a different person.
Yeah.
He's very, very scary.
Yeah.
But also we want to go with him. That bit is so evil. It's so not fair that he wrote those notes for us to play. That, I would say, like 80% what you just did. I think it's difficult to find a way of making that work with the places where you have just an 8th note triplet rest, and then the accompaniment continues.
Yeah.
So I think it was much more understandable now, but maybe too much when it's always the same. Does that make any sense? So like if you take the same I've not practiced this. If it's always the same amount of time, and then it begins to get maybe obvious. Does that make sense? You don't know what I mean. You do know what I mean. So what you just did, taking more time when you have the harmonic on the first beat, and then the accompaniment starts again. So like in bar 59, what you did now was so much better than before, but I think sometimes it could be less.
Okay.
But not as little as you did it the first time. So somewhere in between.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. Let's skip on. That's fantastic. I think that becomes much more scary. Let's skip on to the second Erlkönig bit at 1887.
Yeah.
And see if you can find, it doesn't need to be so fast even. See if you can find that pianissimo character. Again, he's trying to draw us in. He's trying to get us to go to his land and to tell us how wonderful it is. And if he, I think if you can find a very special color for it, and it's no longer a violin showpiece.
Yeah.
Have a go from 87. Okay, can you do the same thing again? Can you take the melodic line, the voice line, without the bass line? Okay, it's very beautiful, but we always have the same weight. I wondered if you would do it when you didn't have the accompaniment, and you still did, that we have the same weight at the beginning of each bar. So try and find a way. so that we have a long phrase. It's
Yeah.
very, very difficult with
Mhm.
all of the notes we have to play to
Mhm.
find that long phrase. But if we have it, again, if we have it without the left hand, without the
Yeah.
left hand of the piano,
Mhm.
it's easier to find it when you're playing all of the notes. So
Mhm.
try it again and
Yeah.
think of the long line.
Yeah.
Okay, and now maybe a little bit slower, just so that we can all hear both lines together. Okay, it was so difficult to hear, but I think that made a lot more sense. It felt like it had a much more line, and I think if you just really work to find a very, very different color there, that go and listen to all of the singers singing it. See how they color the Erlkönig singing at this point, and how light and beguiling is a wonderful English word for it. He really tries to draw us in, and if you find that color there, it will be so exciting. Okay, let's go.
Fenella.
Yeah, I know you're going to tell me to stop. I know. Can we just do like 3 more bars?
Yes.
Thank you. So it's not the hard bit. This is why I practice this piece when I have to play it.
Yeah.
So go to that bit. I want to hear that point where he changes from wanting to entice us to go with him to the point where he's like, if you don't come with me, I will make you.
Yeah.
I want to hear that in your sound. So
Yeah.
if you go from, so that's 117.
Yeah.
Okay, I could hear it more. From that one, we need to be scared. Really, really, really scared as listeners. I would actually take the listener. So, rather than to me, actually, he's creating the tension. He's the fear and the tension. I know there's no crescendo in there, but I think that even if you don't do it with volume, actually it should be getting very, very, very scary.
Yeah.
In those last 2 bars. And if you back away from the sound, so if you, we've lost that tension.
I see. Yeah.
Keep as much tension as you can, because he's saying, if you don't come with me, I will make you. It's not kind of charming.
Yes.
The beginning of the phrase is charming. The end of the phrase is, I mean, it's the stuff of nightmares and horror films. So make that happen. Make us scared.
Yeah.
And I can just feel Cecily going, shut up, we need to go on. Well done. That's absolutely wonderful playing.
Thank you so much for your listen.
Oh, it's a huge pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Yumiko. It's really wonderful
Thank
to
you.
hear you. And I would never say shut up, Fenella.
I know.
So we have one more performer tonight. This is Brendon Howell. He's one of my students at the Royal Northern. We were going to hear, I think, all of the Saint-Saëns introduction around a Capriccioso, but we're going to condense it. He's told me a section. And from one kind of violinistic showpiece to another, this one is as not scary.
No.
Not terrifying, at least to listen to, maybe to play.
Beguiling in a different way.
Exactly. So I think we'll do about maybe half of it
Great.
from the video, and then you can dive in. So again, I will share screen, select Brendon, share, and play. terrible place to stop, but
Oh, it's sad.
about halfway. So
Next bit gets fun. Um, great. Well, yeah, well done. It's, you know, this was one of my first show pieces that I learned when I was little, and I totally didn't get it. And then I finally went back and performed it properly a couple of years, not even last year I think it was. And it was, I think for me, the range of emotions in this piece and the fact that you get to flirt outrageously with the audience and the orchestra it's great. It's so much fun to play. And I think there could be more flirting going on with obviously the music before you get the wrong idea. But going back to the beginning, obviously it's not that character at all. Do you know what malinconica, which I can't even say, do you know what that one means at the opening?
I'm not going to lie, no.
Melancholy.
Right, I could have guessed, yeah.
You can guess it.
Yeah.
I mean, you are already getting that character in there, but I think actually being informed that he specifically asked for it could give you even more of that. And to make those changes when it, for example, when it goes to the animato, also make sure it's bar. Have you got bar numbers?
Yeah.
So I had to write them in. Bar 11.
Yeah, the C sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of realised that after I sent the video off, so I was like, whoops. But yeah,
it's such an important note because suddenly, from is a very different place to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just go back to the beginning and just play me the first phrase.
Okay.
Okay, this is it's fun. It's really great. I would just what is a really tiny thing, but you have a tendency always to go, and then that last note of the short notes, you kind of stop.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, to me, it should take us to those high notes. It's such a tiny thing to pick you up on. And also think of it's hard again to tell with the sound on this, but think about where the long notes are taking you, how you're getting to the or whether you're going and make sure that each time you're finding a different solution. I mean, it doesn't need to be each time different 100%, but you don't want to get into habits with this music, because as soon as you get into habits, we know what's coming next. But actually, this music, you shouldn't quite know what's coming next. That's the charm of it.
Okay.
Because it's almost quite soothing what's happening in the orchestra, but you should be beguiling. You should be taking us with you in this very melancholy sort of a way. When it gets to the animata, can you play that for me again?
Do you want me where up till the end of it and such?
Just the first 4 bars of it will be enough. Okay. To me, it shouldn't really stop. It is. That should be almost an interruption rather than that we've got completely stuck at the top of that.
Okay.
That passage. I like the fact that it felt more that you were kind of getting falling over as you were getting towards the top of it this time. Actually, that was great. I think that suited the music. But then you stopped in the third bar of it, of the animato.
Okay.
And I think, can you try it once more and don't let yourself get relaxed there.
Okay.
Okay, and think about the harmonies as well. So we're in very different worlds for those two.
Okay.
So maybe from the third bar, so from 20 bar 20. Great. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, but is it the same harmony there?
No.
No. So you don't want to play it with the same colour as you play the second half of bar 21.
Okay.
So
Okay.
go from 24, just from the second half. Sforzando. So these fast notes, I always still have it in my head. My violin teacher when I was little told me it should be, I've got it written in my music, it should be like gossamer or cobwebs.
Okay.
And it feels like, I mean, you're doing a very good job of playing all the notes, but it kind of feels like there are too many notes.
Right. Okay.
I mean, you're playing all of the notes that are there and it's perfect, but it feels like it should be like this veil of cobwebs, if you want to go there. But just something that's just like almost ethereal, I guess, rather than very well organized and very well behaved.
Okay.
So if you go from 29, maybe. Sorry, that's a horrible pace to make you go from. Wherever works for you around there. Yeah, and then that should be a shock. I would also say be absolutely sure when you're practicing that you know exactly where the bow changes, where the string crossings are, that you know exactly what, because it feels a little bit like your right arm thinks that you're on the A string and your left hand thinks you're on the E string in some places when you've got those. I don't know how you practice that passage, but I would definitely recommend practicing it with lots of rhythms, so lots of dotted rhythms, because that helps with the coordination for making sure that your brain really knows where you're changing strings, and practicing really giving an accent as you cross the string just occasionally, so that you like a really like you know that you're doing it. It's not an accidental accent, but just so you're really sure that your brain knows where those crossings happen.
Okay.
So both arms go at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But let's not do that now because that'd be a waste of everybody's time. So can you just play it for me once more, and just try and get as much lightness, and then that sudden change with the marcato.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. So the character at the beginning, I think, is great. I wonder when it feels like your character is slightly dependent at the moment on where you are in the bow, and actually it shouldn't matter where you are in the bow. You should have the character that you believe in at this point. So can you just play me, if you weren't thinking about, if you weren't stuck there, how would you play it? From
well, the way I've got it is it's like something that's becoming a bit more persistent each time. So I wouldn't want to, I suppose it's got that kind of like articulated edge to it, but I wouldn't as such want to overdo the first one, I think.
But play me what you would have. What would you have in mind?
Okay. Just straight on them.
Yeah. Okay. So exactly, you've already got that something of energy in that first one, and because you find a way to get there, or if you can't get there, find a way to play it that sounds like it would do if you were there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you go from there and play it exactly as you want it musically, regardless of where you are in the bow. Sorry, I know it's your bow wants to go in the other direction, but do you know what I mean? I mean, that's something you can go away and think about, but just make sure, as a general thing, make sure that, I know that this causes us so many problems because nothing's quite right in the right place all the time, but actually at the end of the day, the ideal is that we can do anything in any character in any part of the bow, so that we're not limited musically by what the bow is telling us it can do.
Yeah.
And make sure that that's always your first question, is like, how would I do this if it wasn't for technique?
Okay.
Okay. There was another F sharp.
Yeah.
Again, it's these tiny little elements that make such a change to the character, because it's a very different character. We have to be aware of all those tiny little changes, because so often these phrases repeat so many times that we have to find those differences for the audience to keep listening. Can you do that phrase. It's the upbeat to bar 57. No, I'm looking at the wrong line, aren't I? But do upbeat to bar 57 so that we can hear the change.
Yeah. But sorry.
Sorry, those ones in my copy, admittedly I have a terrible ancient copy of this, but I've got those tied over. So I've got 2 quavers tied over.
Yeah.
On that
Okay.
second A, and you're coming off it really quickly, and it sounds a bit picky.
Okay.
And I don't know that that's necessarily the character that you're going for.
Okay.
Play again. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think is the difference in character between that one and then those 3 parts, those 3 elements to the phrase? Are they all the same character? Are they all the same personality, or do they change?
They're all different.
Okay. You need to be absolutely convinced in yourself.
Yeah.
What the personality of each one is, and for me, that's told to me by what the harmonies are doing as much as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel a bit like I'm not sure that you know exactly what the characters are that you're going for each part of that phrase.
Okay.
You don't need to tell me in words, but just have a think and then play it again. Just play the second half of the phrase.
Okay.
So that's 64. So you already did some of this. Again, it's difficult to hear with the quality, but I think you could enjoy even more, how that takes you there. And is a very, very special thing. And then I think finding those differences in the way you approach those points of the phrase, I think that's the key to finding those different colours.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
So once more that same thing, and then going on. Just one little tiny extra point for the previous bit that we don't need to go through, but just to say, I think you're actually using maybe sometimes a little bit too much bow.
Okay.
On those ones, you get very far through the bow, and then it's quite hard to get back again. So if you can concentrate the bow a bit more on those, I think it will make your life easier. Going into the next phrase, this is one of the places where I think you need to flirt more with the music. It's kind of coquettish to me, this passage. It might not be that to you. Everybody has a different attitude towards everything, but to me it's kind of... and then the character of those little interjections. She just ooh.
Yeah.
I think there could be more of that. I also think, on a technical aside, it feels like you on the trills, you start with a slower and lighter bow, and then you kind of get stuck. And I think, what bowing are you doing?
I'm doing like up, down, down,
Okay,
up, down. So just bowing that way.
It sort of feels like that happens. So try and lighten through the bow, and I think that'll help you also with the turn on the trill, because I think that's part of the problem, is that your right arm also gets stuck, and then your left hand gets a bit stuck.
Okay.
And I think it might make it easier for you. What the bowing is doesn't really matter, but if you lighten off towards the end of that bow, it might help. So try that, and also try being more coquettish.
Okay.
Okay, that was so much better. Really, so much better. I'd just say, enjoy the difference between and then.
Right. Okay.
They feel a bit too similar for my liking at the moment.
Okay.
Very nice up bow staccato. That the next bit is like noodling. And we've already been through that stuff. So how about we skip, because I'm just so aware that it's right coming up at the end of your time.
I think we should
Okay.
probably stop really soon.
Just one tiny thing. You know the scale at 1, 2, 5?
Yes.
I have "don't cheat" written in my music. That's
Right.
another place where it sort of feels like, well, for a start, make sure that you're really clear about what the rhythm is.
Yeah, we did this in my lesson yesterday. I was a bit I think I was cheating for the vast majority of the time.
It's very easy just to go and hope that you reach the top, but actually being organized about what the rhythm is as you're going through, that it does get faster. That it's written out accelerando. It really helps, and especially whether you're playing with orchestra or piano, it's helpful.
It needs to be
right, but also to feel it's another place where, although you should be very aware of what the rhythm is, it shouldn't sound like we hear all the notes. It should be an amazing gesture, but a very, from your part, organized gesture, but that doesn't sound it to the audience.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
If that makes any sense at all.
Yes. Yeah. It does. Yeah.
But well done. It's sounding really good. And that be coquettish.
Yeah.
That was great. That phrase was.
I need to look at what coquettish is, because I only know coquettes as those just like kind of Spanish breadcrumb thing. So I don't know if that's what you mean.
No, coquettish is like when you're. It's like when. How do you even describe coquettish?
I'll ask the Urban Dictionary.
It's like it's mildly flirtatious, but it's not flirtatious because it's like flirtatious in the days before you were allowed to be flirtatious.
Right. Okay.
So it's like it's kind of quite cute.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And it's like pushing it as far as you can go without being overtly actually flirting.
Okie dokie.
Sorry, so that's a really random thing.
No. That
I'm
gets
feeling slightly
picture,
embarrassed that I brought it up. But these things where you're just playful.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good
I know what that means. So
yeah. But yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Well done for getting it right, even without understanding the word.
Yeah.
Great, well done.
Oh my gosh. This has been absolutely a joy, Fenella. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Much.
It's so nice to talk to people.
Brendon, if you wouldn't mind muting, you're muted. Okay, great. If we could have just a few minutes for questions, there's a raise hand feature down on your chat buttons, or if you just want to pop your video on if you have a question. We can take a few or not. I have a couple little things to wrap up with, but anyone? I'm not seeing any hands raised.
I'm very nice, really.
She really is.
I'll answer anything pretty much.
It's amazing.
About
I've just put
anything,
myself
pretty
back in a gallery view, and now I can see everybody. It's so cool to see people. I can see Elizabeth and my friend Beth. And Alex, I don't know you, but thank you very much for being here. This just really, I can't thank you enough. I owe you a lot. And
Who, what, me?
yeah, you, Fenella.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. It's been an absolute joy. It's been great to hear all you guys. You sound fantastic. And it's been lovely to do something different in this isolation other than just like try and practice.
It's hard to, yeah, I keep going back to the practice room, and my problems that I've had are still the same problems I've had. It's amazing.
They never change.
Yeah. Just going forward, I intend to do this every week. So anyone who is interested in being a guest teacher or sending students or playing, you can pop me a message on Facebook, or even better, I've just put in, for those on Zoom, they're in the chat window, I'm sending you my email. That's a great way to reach me. It's cecilyward@gmail.com, and that's in the group chat. Send me an email, let me know you want to play. Next week is going to be incredibly different. A great friend of mine, also from university days, Evan Price, is going to host an improv workshop. He's an unbelievable jazz violinist, but really can do anything. I mean, he plays Beethoven Concerto, he plays bluegrass, he plays, those of you from Cleveland might remember him shocking us with his fiddling one Christmas. So he'll be doing a workshop next week. I don't know quite how he's going to do it. I'm waiting to hear how he's going to send me down more tech rabbit holes than I want to go down. So that'll be next week. And for anyone listening who wants to support this endeavor, I am looking into ways to accept donations for our guest teachers. We are all out of work. Every last one of us has the clearest concert diary you have ever wanted to see.
It's so depressing.
So I really do want this to be a way to support our guest artists. Of course, there's no requirement for participation or listening, but a sliding scale donation would be greatly appreciated. That was beyond me today. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So
sorry, just to butt in, it is icky as it is. If certainly for me on my YouTube, if you go to any of the recent videos from the last couple of weeks, there's a PayPal me
perfect
thing set up, because it's literally, I mean, those videos are my only income now.
Yeah. So
and they're not income, it's just donations if anybody wants to buy me a cup of coffee. Well, not that I can go out and buy a cup of coffee, but you know.
So please, if you were inspired or moved or have an extra pound or dollar rattling around, you can do that. And in the future, I'll have a more in-app way to do that. And if there, I do have two people with hands raised.
Ooh,
Ross and Beth. Beth.
Hello.
This is Beth Johnson, a violinist from Texas, who I roomed with at a festival last summer. Welcome, Beth.
Amazing.
Hi, this was fantastic. I've had Zoom all day long today, so I'm zooming out soon. Just fantastic. You know, I feel like I've been living under a rock. I had never heard that Erlkönig before, of course, sung.
It's crazy.
I've never heard that. It's probably not performed that much, correct? I mean,
no, because it's too difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so cool. And bravo. And I forgot your name. I'm sorry. Bravo to Yumiko. Excuse me.
Yumiko.
Yeah. So I feel like I've been under a rock. I even texted a couple friends of mine. They haven't heard of it. Also, is Venmo available in the UK?
It's not as used here yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. It's great to see you.
Thank
and
Good to see
Ross,
you.
Did that answer your question? Was it just a comment or question?
That was a comment and my question about Venmo. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Also,
Ross.
Just to say, there's a whole book of these Erlkönig etudes. There's, if you don't know them, there's an absolutely crazy Last Rose of Summer, which is the one beforehand, is just insane. And it's really beautiful because the Last Rose of Summer is a beautiful tune. But yeah, what he does with it is crazy, and it's dedicated to Bazzini, which probably says something as well. Anyway, just in case you're interested.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ross, did you have a question?
What's your number one tip for practice when we're stuck inside? Because I find it quite hard to like keep myself in the zone all the time, and I think a routine can be good, but I didn't know if you had any good ideas for mixing it up a bit.
For me, I mean, I think literally everybody I know is struggling with this right now. I don't know anybody who hasn't been saying exactly, you know, going through my social media, literally every musician I know is either saying, I am so depressed I can't play, or they're saying, I'm finding it really hard to find a routine. I'm finding it really hard because, you know, obviously we're all used to the fact that we're working towards something. There's always something. You know, at your stage, probably there's lots of exams and so on. For me, it's like there's always a concert in a couple of days, normally. So trying to find a way of making sure that you're having those little mini things that you're working towards. I mean, for me, I've been finding that actually just making myself do YouTube videos and live streams has really helped to set yourself a goal of something. So whether it's set yourself a goal that at the end of this week, I'm going to play this piece to my cat, or I'm going to get a Facebook group together and, you know, even get some of your class together and have a day where you just put on Facebook Live and play to each other. Things like that. I think having that outside thing to work towards is a very helpful thing. I would also say that having small things, like a list of what you want to achieve in a day, even if it's just like, I want to spend 5 minutes sorting out these 3 bars. It doesn't have to be a big thing that you want to achieve, but knowing that you've got a goal that you want to achieve each day, and actually probably the smaller it is, the more manageable it is, and the more likely you are to do it. But I'd say equally, make sure that you've got things that you really enjoy doing. So I've been having a great time actually some days just reading through Bach, reading through music that I just don't normally have time to play. So that you're making sure that you're mixing up work and organized, structured work. You're mixing up that with actually enjoying yourself, enjoying making music.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, can I have one as well, please?
Oh, isn't he just canny? Thanks.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Sorry, that was my only question.
No, it's a really good question, and it's one that we're all struggling with. I mean, loads of people have been doing that thing with a cappella of creating little videos with themselves and things like that. I think anything that stretches you, anything that gives you a new focus is helpful now as well, because it would be very easy then just kind of to sink under a rock and never quite resurface. So just keep stretching yourself as much as you can.
That's going to make an interesting chat for our lesson.
Keep washing your hands, and make sure you go and see some sunlight as well, because I think if we miss out on that, it doesn't help our practicing.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
I think we should call it a night or afternoon or whatever it is. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you all next week and the week after and the week after, or actually it would be better if we didn't, but
just before you finish.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's another raised hand.
Oh no, where?
It says that Ross has raised his hand.
Oh, he lowered
It
it.
was only just to say thank you on behalf of us to Cecily for
That's
organising
what I was about to butt in and say as well.
Yeah. Go,
I think
Cecily.
it's a genius idea that she's come up with, and you know, again for me as well, when I was at music college, the few times that I had teachers who would do this, it was so positive. It was such a positive thing for the class, but it was such a positive thing to have that community spirit of learning, and we all learn from it. You know, if you're teaching, you're learning from it as well, and it makes you think differently. So I'm so grateful to you for asking me to be part of it and for setting it up, and I really look forward to listening to the other classes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry to butt in.
No, that's great. That's it. We're gonna go eat dinner.
Yay.
And good night. Thanks
Night.
all.
Well done, Cecily.
Bye.
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 You good?
Yeah. I just was hoping that it would end up with Fenella, but it's not.